with many main distributaries like what we have in Mississippi. That's the Mississippi Delta. The estuarine delta. Estuarine delta is formed when it is partially submerged in coastal waters, and there is a direct flow of water into the sea within very short, little or no sediments. Now, example of an estuarine delta is the Amazon Delta. When there is a partial submergence in coastal waters, and there is also a direct flow of water into the sea with little or no sediments, then estuarine delta is said to have been formed. And we mentioned earlier the Amazon Delta is an example of estuarine delta. Now, deltas are of immense importance to mankind. So we're going to look at few importance of deltas to man. One, delta provides good agricultural land for cultivation of crops, or especially rice, oil palm and the rest of them. We also have another importance of delta here as being a site for fishing, provides good site for fishing. In deltaic areas or regions, one of the common occupations found amongst people of these areas is fishing. So apart from providing fertile land or good agricultural land for cultivation, these areas are usually kind of swampy, and as a result it supports the cultivation of plants like rice and oil palm. So it also supports the occupation of fishing. It also is good for petroleum exploration as well as exploitation. And deltas are also good for development of ports because of the availability of large body of water. Let's look at action of winds. When the wind blows, what are the resultant effects on their immediate environment? Now, the action of wind is dominant in deserts and arid regions or semi-arid regions. There are processes of wind erosion. So we are going to look at them one after the other. Number one process of wind erosion is deflation. Another one is abrasion. And we have attrition. Now, deflation has to do with the lifting and blowing away of loose sands and probably pebbles by the wind or by wind. And this leads to the lowering of the land surface, to eventually form what we call a depression called deflation hollows. The second process of wind erosion is abrasion. Now, abrasion is the process, or in this process of abrasion, sand particles are carried by the wind, and they are used to blast or wear away rock surfaces as found in rock pedestals, ziggans, and yardars. So, when this wind carry some of the sand particles, they tend to use, the wind use them to wear away some rock surfaces. And over time, this gives rise to a feature which is known as the pedestal or rock pedestal, ziggan, and yada. Now we'll get to look more about on these features we just mentioned, the pedestals, the ziggan, and the yadas. Now let's see the third process of wind erosion. We're talking about attrition. Attrition here is a process whereby wind-borne particles collide with one another, thus leading to the wearing away of each other. When this happens, there is a reduction and the roundness in the size of these particles. As a result of this, it gives rise to several different features on the land surface. Now let us look at what we call in-cell beds. In-cell beds. In-cell beds or in-cell bed is an arid landform. Arid, that is to say that these such landforms are commonly found in dry areas like the desert. They are usually isolated rocky outcrop and they have steep sides, or called steep sides. Look at the various sides, the two sides. They are so steep that such that it would encourage effect of erosion, running water, running ice on the future itself. Now, it also has a round top and is composed of granite. In-cell bed is formed from the existence of an extensive old plateau, and usually as a result of weathering as well as removal of these weathered materials by water or wind. What are the importance of in-cell beds? Let's look at importance of in-cell beds. Now, we have two importance here. One is in the area of tourism, and the second one is in the site for quarry. We mentioned earlier that in-cell beds are composed of granite. They are granitic in nature. And then, due to their shape, they form very good attraction for tourism. And they are also good site for quarry. Let us also consider the rock pedestals. Like I said earlier, we will look at some of these features mentioned in detail. So one of them here is rock pedestals. Rock pedestal consists of the horizontal layers of hard and soft rock. Horizontal, you have hard rock. The next layer is, soft rock. Hard rock has to do with the basement complexes, like the granite and gneisses. Whereas soft rock has to do with the sedimentary rocks, like limestone, sandstones, and what have you. So, the rock pedestal looks like a pillar in a structure. If you can imagine what a pillar does to a structure, that's a similitude of what we call rock pedestal. The rock pedestal also are formed by wind abrasion. Now, a second feature here is the zigan. Zigan are tabular masses with a layer of soft rocks lying beneath a surface layer of a hard rock. When we have a soft rock just lying at the bottom of the hard rock, and such that it has a long ridge and a furrow landscape. That such a feature is termed a zigan. The last feature here is another feature here is a yardan. Yardans have vertical bands of hard and soft rocks. Remember, in the other case where we talked about zigan, we are looking at horizontal. We said they are rather tabular masses with a layers of soft rock lying beneath a surface of hard rock. But in this case, now we are looking at a vertical band of hard and soft rocks arranged vertically in bands. That's what yardans look like. And they have ridges and furrow of landscape. Yardans are usually formed in the desert. We also have mesas and buttes. Mesa is a flat-like tableland mass with a resistant horizontal top layer, which also has steep sides. It is made up of soft and hard areas. There are features and modes of formation of berchan and luces as well as self dunes. So that is what we are going to look at now. Features and modes of formation of the following. A, we have the berchan. B, we have the luces. And finally, we have the self-dunes. Let's talk about the Barchan. This is a crescentic or a moon-shaped structure which has a convex shape on the windward side and a concave shape on the leeward side. And it's usually formed when there is an obstacle like rock which impedes the movement of wind, resulting in the accumulation of sand materials. Now, if we have such an obstacle like a rock which tries to prevent the easy movement or the free movement of wind, the particles carried by this wind, when they meet this obstacle, they tend to fall to the ground and gradually accumulate. And as a result of this, they give rise to what we call the Barchan feature. Loose are, just like the name implies, these are loose, fine particles which are carried by wind, and they are deposited outside the desert as loose. We also have the fine or self-dunes. Self-dunes are sword-like shaped. They have long and narrow ridges of sand, and usually of hundreds of kilometers. They are formed by wind deposition in desert. Alright, so now let's look at glacial action. Let's consider glacial action. You remember that there are many agents of erosion. We have the running water, we have ice, we have glaciers, we also have wind. So we are considering the action